I want you to think of something you think is underrated. Something you hold dear, but very few share that sentiment. Maybe it's a sequel to something that didn't do as well as the original despite its improvements. Maybe a show that didn't catch the right audience because studio executives are terrible people. Well, I'm here to tell you that you're wrong. I have found the most underrated thing of all time, and it's a little game called Rage in Peace. Rage in Peace is undeniably a masterpiece. Its characters are funny and unique, its story is simple but compelling, and the gameplay is one of the most fun and clever I have ever seen. As much as I want to make a 12-hour rant about the story and characters, I'm not going to do that, because you will play this game, and I don't want to spoil it. I am purely talking about the gameplay today. So now that I have your attention, let me explain how Rage in Peace is a rage game done right. Rage in Peace is the story of a man who wants to live out his dream of dying in his pajamas. So Grimm lets him live, and the universe is now trying to kill him by all means necessary. And that's all I'm going to say for the plot, because that's all you need to know. The first level demonstrates how the game works and the basic rules. Every step you take can and will kill you, in the most ludicrous way possible. Puddle on the floor has ice shards that come out of nowhere, Easter Island Head is on a skateboard, Tiki Tribe has stolen your office chairs and are now playing the bongos. Anything can happen. This is nothing unique to this game. Plenty of games have the aim in killing you in ways you could never expect, but Rage in Peace is different. One part is the lore adds up. This isn't just the narrator being a dick. You cheated death, and now you're paying the consequences. Another part is the ways you die are so ridiculous you can't get mad at the bongo chairs. And when you do die, it's your fault. Yes, the shark cannot physically come out the puddle, but you really should have known it was there. And that's what the game plays with. You know a bunch of stuff can come out of nowhere to kill you, and the game uses that information to mess with you. The first thing most players ever die to is this puddle. If you stand on it, ice spikes appear. So now you have it in your brain that puddles equal death. So you see another puddle, and it kills you if you jump over it. Now you know, the game doesn't care about consistency. The only thing that stays consistent is that this game consistently fucks you over. So now you have a dilemma. There's another small puddle. While the last one punished me for jumping, that one was bigger, so the safest bet is to jump over it, but don't go too high, because then I might— okay, never mind. Well, now I know this puddle is a decoy, so I can just— okay, that one was on me. Then there's this puddle right after. This puddle doesn't do anything, it's just there. So now you have no idea what to think, and as you're thinking about that, you just died to a shark. I'll also add that these puddles are not back to back. There are so many obstacles that interconnect to kill you that I could spend this entire video just talking about the first section of this game. So I just talked for a while about puddles. If that doesn't convince you to play this game, that I was able to talk about how it used puddles for its own segment, then I genuinely don't know what I could possibly say that would convince you to play it. I want to make it clear that while all of this is going on, the game never feels unfair outside of Chapter 4. The game is clever about this, and it just feels like the game is outplaying you. And it fits with the feel that the universe itself is trying to kill you. It's objectively unfair, but it just feels like the devs are smarter than you instead of random bullshit. The game is also really good at telegraphing the traps. Not enough to the point where you can see where the traps are, but once you die to them, you can look at the background and see how to avoid the obstacles. For example, this point in Chapter 2. You're on a cable car, then a spoon shoots at you, then a fork, then these things that I thought were fists, a mummy on a jet ski, a flying spiked camel, more cutlery, and this giant snake thing. I have brought up how weird this game is, right? All of this is way too fast to react to. But it doesn't feel like BS, because if you look at the lift, there's a 3x3 pattern on it. This allows you to very easily avoid the obstacles. Jump twice, then go right, then left, then right left, middle, and then you can walk to the door and die to mummy hands because you're never safe. The spoon also only attacks when the lift covers the crack, so it's really easy, really easy, really easy, really easy. Jesus, I suck at this game. So I think I made myself clear on why this game is so great. It's clever in the way it kills you, and the deaths are so ridiculous you can't get mad at it. It reuses assets in order to trick the player in ways you'd never think of, and uses its background to help you avoid obstacles, so it feels like dying is your fault despite the fact that they come out of nowhere. 10 out of 10. But I'd only give this game a 9 out of 10. Why? Well... Fuck Chapter 4. You see everything I've talked about so far? Yeah, that was all just so I can insult this chapter. I genuinely don't think this chapter was made by the same people who made the rest of the game. This entire game is unfair, but this is the only part that feels unfair. Unfortunately, this game does peak after Chapter 3. Chapter 5 isn't as fun or as clever, but it makes up for it with the story and other spoiler stuff. But Chapter 4 just isn't the same game. The rest of the game is a 2D platformer, and then the game suddenly drops it because variety?
Give me that shit! You don't need that fucking garbage anymore! Now you're an egg, motherfucker!
Oh god, why?
Roll to the finish line, you fucking egg!
I just wanted to shoot things.
The vehicle part is next!
And now this is happening. I will be nice. The cutscenes in this chapter are sweet and have some nice foreshadowing, and the ones where Timmy are talking to it's all well done, but the problem is I can't get invested in the conflict because I'm too busy trying to decipher which character is saying what, and I'm still mad at this fucking gameplay! So the gameplay is split into two different parts. Follow the Eye and some weird rhythm game. Both of these suck. First is Follow the Eye. There's an eye, it's surrounded by whatever the devs feel like, and it moves randomly and you have to try and stay in its area. Number 1. This game had some dumb hitboxes before, but now they don't want you to escape, despite the fact that you clearly can. The game did previously try and keep you on a linear path, but there it added to the you versus devs feel of the game. In chapters 1 through 3, there were traps everywhere you go, so it just felt organic. Here, it feels forced and makes you feel like you're being sat down and have no control over your fate. Next, this doesn't work because there's only one way you die here. To these guys. When I die here, I know it's because the eye just went in the opposite direction it was going and I didn't have time to react. I know I sound like a broken record, but previously, you die to things that come out of nowhere, but you feel like you should have seen it coming. Here, it feels like a child mad with power. It also controls terribly. You can move around slower than the eye, but you can also dash to gain more speed, but have less time to react to the turns. Small problem. It takes so long to turn around that you're forced to dash. Also, the dash is barely faster than the eye, so you're forced to spam it, basically breaking your keyboard, and then suddenly you die because fuck you! The basic game also didn't have the best controls, but that's mostly due to the camera, and it's not bad enough to excuse this nosediving quality. The camera is pretty terrible though, who coded this shit? Thankfully the other game mode is slightly better. The raindrops fall down and you have to move aside. Honestly, this isn't the worst. The raindrops are fast, but they are reactable, and there's slightly more room for creativity in the game design, but it's a 6 out of 10 at best. The biggest problem is how long they go on for. It gets old so fast that even while playing with extra checkpoints, I was done with it before the end of the first round. And there's like 3 rounds, each harder than the last. I'd check, but that would require me to play more of this god-awful chapter. I feel like a good comparison is the helicopter crash in the first chapter. While this section isn't the best in the game, it's short, and the fact that it happens early makes you never know what's coming next. instead of here, where you know exactly what's coming next because it's the same of what you just spent the last hour and a half doing. The length of this section is definitely what makes it better than Chapter 4, with it not having a single checkpoint in it. This allows the player to memorize what each of the falling objects are and not get bored. The falling objects are way more memorable than the arbitrary teardrops that break your imagine, telling you that you are, in fact, playing a video game. It's also clear how far you are from the end due to how far you are from the bottom of the screen. And the music has a loop instead of just stopping every time you die, like how it does in Chapter 4 for some reason, making deaths have more impact, which is the complete opposite of the game's goal. And there's lanes in the background which imply where each of the objects are without making you play bootleg Subway servers. Actually, this section is just better in every conceivable way imaginable. Why is Chapter 4 so bad? That was genuine anger at the end. Sad I had to end on a negative note, when this game is really good, but I really needed to get that off my chest. Overall, this game has an incredible design. And Chapter 4. I'd always like to play obscure indie games, as I think they're often better than most AAA games, but a lot of indie games I play have a reasonable and passionate audience. Rage in Peace doesn't have that. It's a tiny game that never got the recognition it deserved. Apparently PewDiePie played it, but it still got lost in the herd. It's a shame, but I kind of like its small size. It makes me feel happy that I was lucky enough to find this hidden gem. I don't expect this video to do well, since it's talking about a game with a subreddit of 7 members, so if you made it to the end, please like and subscribe. I don't like saying that, but this game deserves it. Anyway, endings are hard. Goodbye, loyal critics.